entrepreneurship is ownership, and anybody can be entrepreneurial if they take ownership and keep themselves motivated and motivate those around them and move towards a common goal. I mean, it's so much like leadership.
What was your first business venture?
Bought a house on Wood Street when I was a freshman in college.
Began by managing a restaurant when I was in high school.
Selling insurance.
I went out for an interview at Backrack's in Eastland Mall, thinking I would do something sort of part-time, and ended up getting involved in there and loving it.
After graduating, I went to work for First Citizens Bank in Michigan City, Indiana, and spent a couple years working as a trust officer there.
I was working for another printing company at the time. I was managing a small printing company, and I saw a need in the industry that wasn't being met locally, which in that period of time was color printing, which, believe it or not, had not gotten its foothold. You know, in the old days you got a black and white print, and people copied black and white stuff for the most part, and so we went into the color aspect of it. Plus we started offering a few more services than what was being offered.
Mason County, Illinois, and this was kind of a pilot project. The amount of diesel fuel saved in trucking alone was about 9,600 gallons. We reused about 22,000 tons of material in place. So that was material that didn't have to be picked up and hauled away and dumped someplace, and it was 22,000 tons of materials that didn't have to come out of a quarry. By remixing and relaying those materials in place, we weren't running those materials through an asphalt plant. The amount of energy saved by not running those materials through an asphalt plant was enough to power 350 homes for a year. And last but not least, this process saved Mason County 47%.
I don't sleep. Like I went to bed at 2:45 this morning, and I planned on sleeping in, but my phone rang at 4:15. It was my garbage out worker. He had said his back hurt or something, so I said I'll be out there. So I drove all the way to Moreau, and I was there. So I mean, I'm going on 2 hours of sleep. I am tired, but it was because I'll go for about 7 days straight, and then I'll sleep 8 hours, and I'll be fine. So I don't know. I don't sleep, and honestly, I almost spend every minute working, whether I mean, I'll go home and I'll play around the world with my kids and basketball and stuff, but, you know, and I'll take time for that, but it just seems like when they go to bed, I'm still on my phone or I'm still on the computer searching for something, but I like it.
In Spurlock, and I started a partnership. And Ryan had started to work in here. He was a Stephen Decatur freshman, started to work in here part-time after schools, so he has worked here on a continuous basis for 17 years. So he's 31 now. He was 14. I had to sign his work permit, and fortunately for me he's a dynamic salesman. He has great taste, and he's 20 years younger. So we have the best of all worlds. We have two guys with great taste who has dedicated their lives to this business, and my customers in general that I have waited on all my life are now in their 50s to retiring. For us to survive as a store, we had to go after younger guys. And to be fair to Ryan, we definitely have to go after people like yourself, you know, that can be anywhere from high school to college to starting their careers, and buy accordingly. So we have really worked hard on trying to offer a broad range of new manufacturers, new vendors, and I think being small, we can sort of change with the times quicker.
Businesses view, and sometimes myself included, view marketing as an expense rather than an investment. That is the challenge for us in educating our clients. A dollar that you spend today very rarely is going to result in a dollar tomorrow when it comes to your marketing and advertising. It's more likely that the dollar that you spent today and the dollar you spent tomorrow and the dollar you spend next week and a month from now will end up in $5 at the end of 3 to 6 months. But until that build-up of time, you're not gonna have had opportunity to clearly communicate enough times what it is that you have to offer from a product or service perspective. So keeping that at the forefront of our clients' minds is our biggest challenge, and trying to get them to understand that you can't give up on marketing and advertising now just because it's a tough economy. You have to be able to keep bringing new people into the pipeline, especially when it is a tough economy, because people may still be your customers, but they may be purchasing less. Okay, if they're purchasing less, then that means that I've got to have more people in. That requires me to be more proactive from an advertising and marketing perspective.
We don't really pay that close attention to our competition. We see that we're doing what we want to do and doing it the right way and the way that we've been successful over the years. And we don't see that we welcome competition, because the competition lots of times will get us more business because they don't do it right. So we like competition, but we stick to what we've done over the years. It's worked for us, and we will keep doing it that way.
When I was a kid, the customer service into things. People will come in and buy a case, which 12 bottles. We'll box it up, and this can be a mixed case, so they can buy 12 different kinds of bottles. We give them a 10% discount per case, and as we're boxing it up and you're paying, we'll say, "Are you parked nearby?" And people will literally, and they're like, "Oh, I'm right out here." Okay. Pick it up, you start carrying it, you go around the counter, and people freeze and do double takes. They can't believe you're carrying the wine out for them. It's amazing. Kind of sad. You know, in the old days, that's how we were treated as customers. People would carry your groceries out for you. They do this, they do that. Yeah, it's a little more effort, but it doesn't break our backs, and it's not happening with every customer that comes in that you're having to carry, because otherwise you'd probably be exhausted. But we make a lot of money. Yeah. But it is amazing. Or they'll say, "No, I'm parked in that parking lot across the street." And they say, "Well, you want to pull around front? We'll load it in for you." Okay. Yeah. It's amazing how many people are not used to that.
Used to say you can be a little fish in a big pond, or strive to be a big fish in a little pond. And I think Decatur is the big fish, little pond scenario. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way, but I like that the volunteerism indicate. I just like the attitude and the fortitude of the people here. I mean, you're not old enough to remember, but you know, we've got a time when we had 3 factories on strike at one time, and I tell people from out of town, we're like weevils. We wobble, but we don't fall down, and we will rise to the occasion. I like that you're 3 hours from Chicago and 2.5 hours from St. Louis and 3 hours from Indianapolis, and you can take a 3-day weekend and enjoy that, but you can come back to Decatur where the cost of living is better, and you know, you walk into a restaurant and people know you, and I just always liked that.
You know, it is imperative that they're treated with respect, that you back them up, that, you know, they know that they can come to you with anything at any time. You know, there's some flexibility involved, you know, that we, you know, give our people, but I think there is, without doubt, total respect in this, all throughout our entire organization for everybody that works in it. And there's some pretty darn smart people working here, and I know they've worked other places, and they're just like, you know, they want to be in a place where they're appreciated, you know, and that it's not, I call it water jug talk, you know. I mean, that just doesn't happen here, and I think that's one of the key things is my employees, because if I didn't have them, I'd have nothing.
A lot of entrepreneurship is just guts. I mean, do you have the guts and the faith in yourself? And I pretty much know myself what I'm capable of, and I'm still, like, I just 2 days ago finished working almost a full-time job on top of this one, plus I kept writing. So I know what my limits are, and I know now I've reached them. So I know I have to back off somewhere if I want to make this successful.
Knowing that you're not that special. It's knowing that you've been given some gifts, know what they are, capitalize on them. I'm not ashamed a bit by making a lot of money and making it serving others. Now the trick with that is, what do you do with it? Where do you go with it? How do you spend it? With the understanding a big chunk of that, or a certain percentage of that, goes back to helping other people.